Moving ahead to the last technical session, we have with us our chair, Dr. Rosie Chamlin. Dr. Rosie is an associate professor and head in the Department of English, Central University of Sikkim. Her research area are modernism, literary theory, and cultural studies. She has organized a number of international and national seminars and conferences, besides publication in a number of international journals too. Her current projects are editing on the book on gender equality and women empowerment and the politics of representation, forthcoming in December 2020. We welcome you, ma'am. It's an honor to have you with us. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Shubhra, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible but not visible.
Now I visible now?
No, not yet. We would like to see you.
Yeah. I have to show, I don't know, something's wrong with my camera. I'm trying to switch on my camera.
Ma'am, you have the list of the presenters?
I think, Shubhra, we have 3 presenters left.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I
One
right?
is already taken up. Yes, ma'am.
Three. Yeah, because Sheikh Atif has already presented. So we just have 3 left now. Uh, I want to thank the organizers of this conference for having me over. So without wasting much time, we'll just get into the paper presentation. The first presentation of the day is by M. Elmaran, Assistant Professor from AMET University, Chennai. And the topic of the paper is A Search for Women's Identity is Thiruvalluvar's Thirukural. Yes. So over to you, M. Ilamaran. Kindly make a very precise kind of a presentation because we are always, we are as it is, we are lagging behind. We're short of time.
Hope my voice is audible. Shall I present now?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Can you see that my slideshow? Is my slideshow is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. We can
Okay,
see
I
your
can give you
slides.
one assurance before I'm starting. I won't read everything what I've written, and I will just read what is necessary and present my presentation. I will bypass my introduction since already it is there in the slideshow. Yes. I thank everyone for organizing this session and entitled named as Gender Studies. Gender Studies, it's for last 100 years there, and it is eternal, immortal, like a phoenix. It goes up and it's like coming down and growing. It's coming down and rising. Okay, if you just see the gender is nothing but a human divided into gender, men and women. That's this classification as an equal weightage. That's where we are pointing. Gender studies, from heaven to hell, Bible to Mahabharatam, and God to human, there is a discrimination. There is discrimination everywhere. And in one funny way, only in atheist mind, there is no discrimination, because in all gods and all divine, all those things, there is discrimination. Yes. Today I have taken a poem, Trikural from Tiruvalluvar. About this Tirukkural is nothing but a moral poem for immortal life. I hope this line is enough for describing about Tirukkural, and it is widely accepted poem by the world and maximum translated text next to the Bible. And he has divided this Tirukkural into 3 segments, that is virtue, wealth, and nature of love. If you see these divisions, you can correlate with humans' lifestyle, and you cover everything what is necessary for the life. About Trikural, since he has spoken about everything, how a man should be, how a woman should be, how one should not do. He has spoken about everything. Does he spoke about women? Yes, there is no dedicated poem for women. But Tiruvalluvar stunningly and cunningly written about women. Like he just not exactly said about women do's and don'ts, but he relates to the life, greatness, vanity, happiness, and love and company. He just related how a woman should be, how for happy life, how a woman should be for bringing the family greater, and what is vanity, and how she should not be, and how a family should be happy for that, what she should be doing. So all those poems are dependability. And in other way, in chapters like greatness, life, being led by women, and one turn of women, he has spoken about all those things. Okay, let's come to my point, a search of women identity in Tirukkural. Okay, I just read the explanation, that is an meaning of the quote, the poem, and I will just skip since it is lack of time. The false embrace of wealth loving women are like embracing the strange corpus in the dark room. The fertility that stoops to a wife will always make feel ashamed among the good. Okay, I just they that fear the bamboo like shoulder of their wives will be destitute of manliness, though they may flourish like God. Even a shamefaced womanhood is more to be esteemed than a shameless manhood that performs the behest of a wife. From this, we can understand, or we can have a doubt that does he is saying for a men or women, and many people would have doubt that why he is saying like this, why a woman should be a slave to a man, and why he is portraying a man a greater. Yes, see another Tirukkural, another poem. From those who obey the commands of their wife are always to be expected neither deeds of virtue, nor those wealth, or not those pleasure. This poem will have a many negative point and many criticizing point, because he says that a person who is obeying the commands of wife will not have virtue, will not have wealth, will not have pleasure. He will suffer a lot. Why he says like that? Yes, let's decode those poem. Is he saying that men are greater than women, and the treatment of women should be men are suppressed, or women are suppressed, or women are oppressed? What feminism? That is against feminism. A feminism is about equality and rights. In 21st century, we have attained maximum, except in in rural topography. Okay, this is what. Then, if he is saying like that, what is a family? Or family is a bondage of men and women, or the sharing and caring is why then if we attain the femininity, that then we attain the feminism, equal rights and everything. Why there is an increased divorce case in recent years? Is equality is leading to an unequal lifestyle and divorce family? I have this doubt, actually speaking. I just want to elaborate one more point here. uh, we have having everything except in the rural place. In urban place and all, women are working, women are taking classes, everything. Why then that if they have the rights and equality and equally everything, then why there is no happy family? Then why there is a breakage in that lifestyle, in that family? Why? I'm searching for this answer for quite long number of years. This false, I just want to extend this thing. A false embrace, that poem which we have read. I just want to just put it on a bullet point. The false embrace of a woman are like embracing the strange corpus. Here, the Valluvan has done extraordinarily well. He has said that the fake embrace of women are like fake embrace of a strange caucus. That is how the person is embracing the strange caucus like that. A false man will be like that. The humility in a woman will make her family proud. This is what the Tirukkural said. The Thiruvalluvar said, the humility in a woman will make a family proud. There is no doubt in it. In many cases, there is a problem in this thing. People are taking the humility as a wrong sense. Why I should be humility? Why a man cannot be? That there is no point. All those I will speak about those things in coming slides. A fear of women will lead to manliness. Then the humility of women is better than manliness by listening to women. Why he said like that? If a man is listening to a woman, then he called as a manliness. Why? A man who behests the order of women will not have prosperity, virtue, and pressures. Okay, we have seen all those poems, and I just want to read this poem. This poem is very different, and which will be the against of all he has written. Where pleasures of mind that dwell in realms of thought abound, folly that springs from the overwhelming women's love is never found. The foolishness that result from a devotion or to a wife will never be found in those possess reflecting mind and prosperity therefore. In simple word, a man with good mind and strong mind will not have a mentality of slaving a man, a woman, or to be being a slave to them. So this poem is clearly state that a good man or strong man or who has an control of everything will not have the mentality of slaving a woman or to be slave to them. Okay, let's rewind. I just want, these are all my point. I won't elaborate this thing. I will take just 5 minutes. I will conclude it. I'm sorry for taking so much of time. Let's rewind. I just want to rewind. Please, everyone, please rewind your to the back, the past. Remember our grandparents, our parents, their love and affection that transformed through the eye. I have seen my grandparents who, when they are fighting, their love is equally that shared by our eyes, the eyesight. There won't be words because of ego. They won't be speaking, but through the eyesight, they will share their love and care everything. Their fights and misunderstandings and anger with the 2020 match, it won't last forever. It won't last more than a day, not even a day. It starts in the morning and ends in the noon. Like that, the fights and misunderstandings are there. And the decisions and verdict will be decided by father and discussed by other for final verdict. And I have seen my father and my grandfather used to take decision as well as, and he discussed with everyone. I'm not saying now it is not there or now it's upside down. I will just come down. Responsibility and duty is comparably greater than women for father. This is stating important thing that a responsibility of a man is greater than women. It doesn't mean that men are higher than women and women are lower to men. But according to poet, the women should be supportive and equally treated. This is what he is saying, and take the responsibility of the family. Okay, if you see today's what's happening and today's century, today's day-to-day life, is from serials to movies to scriptures to books and everything, they are showing that anger, pride, ego, envy. They stand up to the eye, not only eyesight. It's like a ocean around surrounded by island, and islands are who we is that what it islands are? It's we are island and surrounded by all those things. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that that men should take the responsibility and men should not, men should dominate and women should suppress all those things. There should be equal importance given to them, but the responsibility, the duty is comparatively greater than women. Still, there are some men who treats women as slave and as doll. We have seen in many scriptures and day-to-day life. Still, there are some men. I'm not saying to them, but only some men are doing like that, but others they are doing greater than everything. The men become human when he treat women equally with love and sharing equal responsibility and duty. Men is nothing or none other than the segment of women. I hope these two important points every man and every man should understand, and they should follow all those things. And I just, my final start, I just want to state, understanding Tirukkural is not easy task, but it is easy. For example, if you go to buffet system, we eat what we like, and we decide that this buffet system is good, and this marriage hall is good, this hotel is good, but good and bad. But we don't taste everything like that. This Tirukkural is like a buffet system, like an ocean, like a whole, like a sky. We cannot predict by saying here it is dark, here it is blue, here it is dill, it is dumb, all those things. We can't predict by seeing something or one or two kurals or two poems. The perspective and understanding of poems differ from people's perspective. It depends on us, in what perspective we are seeing, in what perspective we are analyzing, or in what perspective we are having in mind and looking at the kurals, the poem. It keep on differentiating and keep on change. It is like Herman Hesse's Siddhartha book. Every time you read, it keep on changing. The meaning keep on changing. Same like that, Tirukkural is always keep on changing. And I just want to end with this tag version. Nowadays, I don't think, this is my personal comment, I want to share this thing. Nowadays, feminism, gender studies, it's like an hashtag. Rather, it should be a dashing tag for people who are literally need all those things. So instead of hashing tag for pride and all those things, it should be a dashing tag which can people, where the people will use it and they can come out from all those things. Yes, thank you, ma'am. I just wound up my presentation. I hope I just want to thank this committee people and Regin sir for given this offer to share these things. Thank you, ma'am. I hope I have not.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Ilamaran. We will take the questions at the end of the presentation.
Sure.
Now, the next presenter is Padmavati PA and Dr. Joint paper submitted by Padmavati PA and Dr. P. Bhumi Raja from Sri Ram Nalami Yadava College of Arts and Science, Tenkasi. And the topic of the paper is the midpoint of the gender bias in the views of P. Shivagami.
Yes,
Are they
ma'am.
there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there. Good evening, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening, Padmavati. You may start with the presentation. Please be very, crisp. Try to wind it up within 10 minutes.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
This is Mrs. Padmavati, final year research scholar from Sri Ram Nalamani Yadava College. It's been immense pleasure for me to present my paper, The Midpoint of the Gender Bias in the Views of P. Shivagami. I thank Dr. Regin sir for motivating me to participate. I start my article with the author notes, ma'am. The pioneers of Dalit literature who have lit the candle of enlightenment are Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Mahatma Phule, Baburai Bahul, and Shankarrao Kharat. Tamil Dalit writers have indeed found their own voices and their revolutionary dictions, and their writings are now being translated into English. I want to be an instrument of changes. State my author, Shivagami, whose fame mainly rests on her writing caliber on Dalit women and the issues of the Dalit community. Shivagami, my author, have been one of the senior most administrative officers in the state of Tamil Nadu. Shivagami has published 4 novels, 4 short story collections, and a regular contributor to the literary magazine Pudhiya Kodangi. She is one of the pioneers of Dalit writing in Tamil, who has written the first Dalit Tamil novel in 1989, Palayana Kalidalum, which has been translated as The Grip of Change 2006. The Tamil version of Grip of Change has been written when the novelist was 26 years old. Actually, in her 26 years even, she started her writing. The novel has been translated by herself. The novel has 2 books. The book 1 is entitled as Kathamuthu, The Grip of Change. The book 2 is entitled as Gauri, Author's Notes. There are 2 readings contributed by Meena Kandaswamy and she is Lakshmi. The second novel, Anandayi, is about the list of Dalit women and also about the violent treatment of the women. The Central Institute of Indian Languages in Mysore has been translated her novel Kurikkuvettu into 5 languages. The affair between a low-caste women and a high-caste men have provoked a bitter conflict between the upper caste and the lower caste people. The clash leads to a series of events such as bribing the police, boycotting the service of pariahs, and in order to break their movement, and even burning the Dalit settlement. Finally, the generosity of the upper caste is obvious when the terrific humiliations of the Dalit is compensated by the tribal amount. The novel also exhibits a secret affair between the other upper caste women Shanta and lower caste men Kalyan, and also the secret love between Lalita and upper caste girl and Ilangovan the lower caste men. The second book of the novel, The Grip of Change, consists of author notes which projects Gauri, the daughter of Kathamuthu, assigning the persona of the writer of the first book. The author's note also presents the return of Gauri back to her village, re-examining the circumstance of the situation. Gauri acts as a Shivagami's mouthpiece who has pictured a caste-driven society where humiliation and discrimination has become a routine in the day-to-day life to the upper caste. The Grip of Change is not only a novel about the caste gender discrimination, but it further unveils the truth that caste system can be used as an axis along which power can be exercised. Thus, the novel retains the humility of the oppressed women. Caste has become a boon and a ban for Dalit women. When a Dalit woman is abused, she is given prominence and the issue is dealt in the terms of caste, not as an individual. When Tangam has been molested by the Paranjodi Udayar, a compensation of 10,000 rupees has been given to Tangam. Since she was a low caste woman, not because that she has become seduced violently and she's women. Here, caste has been used as a bias to acquire material and money. The only girl who has knocked the doors of the school and college is Gauri. Gauri has inscribed her identity through her education. She has been overwhelmed with the happiness on the day when she has to leave for colleges. She has been one among the many who has entered into the college field with high hopes, desires, and dreams. Education for Gauri is like an elixir of life. Gauri felt that she has crossed over human made boundaries, her father, her caste, and her village, and merged with the ocean of people. But when the rain stops, the floods recede, and torn bushes emerge.
Hello,
You,
Shiva. Sorry,
yes, ma'am.
Padmavati. Yeah,
Yes,
you. Yeah, are you?
yes, ma'am. I want to explain which my author has been wrote in her book, ma'am. So these are all the things which the women are facing in the book of the grip of change. So to eradicate the gender bias, we should offer higher level education, social integration, increasing women's employment, involving them in active politics and social activities, giving awareness to the parents who have both the babies, like girl or boy, anything, spreading awareness against child abuse and violence, like our conference, like our conference is a wonderful example against gender bias, ma'am. Stopping sex identification and abortions, etc. Maybe the thing which we are giving the opportunities for the women, ma'am.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I conclude my
Now,
paper with a word.
kindly wrap up the word.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I conclude my paper with the words of my legendary author. To be heard, one has to speak. To be answered, one has to question. And to be recognized, one has to speak louder. My author Sivakami's voice is also loud and clear, sonorous and sound, and that is not only heard by one person, but all the persons. She had raised her voice not only for her, but also women like us, who are unseen and unheard. Sivakami emphasized in an article published in Hindu, stating, "Tell me, which constituency is not communally sensitive? The problem persists across the country. If it is not a religion, it is not a caste. This should be changed. In the last 10 years, the world has changed a lot. You cannot afford to remain unchanged. The grip of change is indeed powerful enough to seek this truth for itself, for women equality, for women education, and for women empowerment in this patriarchal society. Feminist is anyone who recognizes the equality and full humanity of women and men." I thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. And I wind up here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Can I
Thank you for your paper, Padmavati PA.
yes, ma'am.
The next, okay, we'll have the discussion round, at the end. So I will come, I would request the next paper presenter, Uttam Barua. I'd seen him. Yeah, he's visible. Uttam Barua is going to present a paper titled Reading Plato's Symposium, The Voice Against Gender Dilemma. Over to you, Uttam. Make a brief presentation. Uttam, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So, a very good evening to everyone, respected dignitaries and co-presenters. I'm Uttam Barua, PhD research scholar in the Department of English of Rajiv Gandhi University. So, as ma'am has already said, title of my paper, I'm going to speak on my topic now. Plato, as a philosopher and the close observer of the society, expressed his views to various social issues and made some recommendations. In this paper, an attempt has been made to study love from Plato's perspective and how it attempted to annihilate the gender dilemma prevalent in the society. If we look at the biblical recommendation, love thy neighbor as you love thyself, the focus is on the neighbor as a being, but not on his race, caste, class, gender, religion, and language, and so on. Gender, filled with all crisscross lines of difference, is such a category that comes on the way of social relations. Gender is a social construct following which particular roles and responsibilities are determined. Apart from masculine and feminine, there are people with ambiguous gender orientation. Scientists have reached at a common ground which suggests that sexual orientation is the result of a complex interplay of genetic, hormonal, and environmental influences. Being a homosexual is not a choice, but in the societal sphere, they are mostly considered as deficient and redundant. Getting discarded and humiliated, the ambiguous gendered people lead a life of alienation. When it comes to acceptance of all human beings as equal, we play a very ridiculous role in the society. Very easily, we accept when Srikhandi becomes Srikhindini for one day to avenge the mishap of her previous birth and call it a greater cause. With the same admiration, we believe in the incident of Arjuna becoming Brihannala for 1 year to hide his Pandava identity. Greek mythology too nurtures a few such accounts. Even hermaphrodite, the term we use for the mysterious gendered person, has been derived from Greek mythology. Hermaphrodite, the son of Hermes and Aphrodite, was very beautiful and charming. Salmaches, one of the naiads, fell in love with him and prayed the gods to help her to get united with him. Everything happened as was wished, then both of them became inseparably united, an ambiguous sex. Likewise, in some other accounts too, we find some such characters as Tiresias, Priapus, Dionysus, etc. The social picture of the Greek society was much different when the homosexuals are talked about. In the Greek society of common people, homosexuality was not encouraged, but male-male relationships and female-female relationships were prevalent in the ancient Greece. Some evidences are there which suggest that homosexuality was more valued in intellectual circles than among common people. In the intellectual scenario, same-sex relationship was considered purer as it was less practical and it confirmed less bodily engagement. So in the present context, theorists like Judith Butler, Gail Rubin, Jeffrey Wicks opine that homosexuality has always been relegated to the margins using different methods, but different cultures respond differently to same-sex relationships and desires. Asian cultures in Korea and Japan have a long history of tolerance towards gay and lesbian relationships. Plato, in his Symposium, presents his philosophy on love. The screen is of a drinking party in which many intellectuals like Phaedrus, Pausanias, Agathon, Aristophanes, and Plato's teacher Socrates were present. Plato, rather than diving deep immediately into the philosophy of love, goes in a staggering manner to give it a dialectic nature. Claims that declared this as a real dialogue were nullified later, and it was asserted that this was just a way of Plato's presentation. So Plato viewed that love implants in man stronger guidance towards leading a good life. Love makes us feel ashamed in acting disgracefully and proud in acting well. An army consisted solely of lovers and loved ones would be unmatchable as they would rather die than show cowardice. He talked about heavenly love and common love. Common love is interested in bodies, whereas heavenly love was directed towards knowledge reproduction. According to him, heavenly love is impersonal and genderless. That love is preferable, which makes the loved one good and wise, educating him and teaching him virtue. The main purpose of love is to produce virtue. A loved one who gratifies his lover in the hopes of gaining virtue is partaking in heavenly love. Love is ever present and all powerful in our life, as it is the cause of all self control, happiness, and justice, and it produces good action. Here we can refer to Levinas's idea of ethical responsibility that is drawn by the face of the other, although other here refers to the next person. It can be applied to the homosexuals too. No matter who the next person is, what matters is the face that resembles the biblical recommendation, thou shalt not kill. So Plato furthers his philosophy by quoting a myth regarding the androgynous, the third gender which existed along with male and female. The androgynous had 4 hands, 4 legs, heads, 2 sets of genitals, and so on. They could move both forward and backward and would run by spinning themselves around the carpel like on all 8 limbs. The gods could not destroy them because they would then forfeit the sacrifices made by humans. Therefore, Zeus decided to cut each person in two. Since each person was cut in two, Apollo turned their heads and necks around so that they would be facing toward the wound that had been made in order to remind them constantly of the punishment. Because they longed for their original shape, people kept trying to find their other half and reunite with it. When they found their other half, they would embrace and stay together, having no other one. Later on, the split people started dying of hunger and general inactivity. Zeus pitied them by moving their genitals around so that they would be facing frontward. This way, when they embraced, they could have sexual intercourse, and those who were formerly androgynous could reproduce. Here goes the origin of humans' instinctive desire for other human beings. Those who are interested in the opposite sex are halves of formerly androgynous people, while people who love same-sex people are halves of what were formerly whole males and whole females. When we find our other half, we are overwhelmed with affection, concern, and love for that person. Uh, this love is not simply a desire for sex, but unlimited care. Love is the name that we give to our desire for wholeness to be restored to our original nature. And so here I quote Plato, who says, I quote, love is the name for our pursuit of wholeness, for our desire to be complete, unquote. In essence, a certain
ये आपने इतने हंगामे से ऑर्गेनाइज किया किससे पापड़ बेलने से पता है लुंकर ने क्या किया है अरे केएनसीडब्ल्यू डायरेक्टर यार तो भाई नाम बताएगा भाई क्या
Can
किया
we switch off? I request the other participants to kindly mute themselves because a presenter is presenting his paper. Uttam, kindly wrap up. I mean, you can just tell us your conclusion and findings.
Sure, ma'am. It will take just 2 minutes. In essence, a certain person is right for us because that person's character matches ours and resembles our other half. Thus, Plato praises love in lofty terms and validates the gender dilemma by suggesting what matters is the love and care, but not the socially stipulated gender. To Plato, love settles in our minds and characters. It is responsible for beauty, excellence, mildness, wisdom, goodness, and much else. This contributes to his idea of Platonic love. Plato talks about a particular function of love, that is, making one pregnant, either in body or in mind. The first one refers to reproduction necessary for survival of human race, and other significant in elevation of the human race by reproducing knowledge. In Vikram Seth, The Golden Gate, we hear the same undertone that infers that modernity marks a naked craze for physical comfort, and there is no time for intellectual growth. So to conclude, I would like to say that Plato understood very well that gender conflict is really harmful for the society. Human life is in a significant way a pursuit of excellence. Plato's discourse thus validates the gender dichotomy and normalizes all kinds of sexual orientation. What matters in this world is love that can sustain the world and help sprout new knowledge. Leaving behind all the narrow-mindedness, we need to show love towards everyone because they too deserve love and care. Before calling someone's behavior unnatural, we must ask ourselves how much we know nature. Thank you, ma'am.
Sorry. Thank you. There's a question for Uttam, but then we'll take that at the end, at the end of everyone's presentation. The last presenter of the day and of the event is Asha J. Asha J, are you around? Asha, are you around? Hello, Asha, are you around?
I'm here.
Asha J? Okay, so Asha J
Yes,
is going to talk.
Yes.
Yeah, the title of Asha J's paper is Barriers Among the Queer Community. Asha, over to you. Kindly make a very, very crisp
Thank you.
presentation.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am, for giving me a wonderful opportunity to present my research paper. The title of my paper is Barriers Among the Queer Community. The most discussed topic in the film industries of all languages around the globe in the recent times is the existential crisis of transgenders. In the Mollywood film Njan Merikutti is directed by Ranjit Shankar. He portrayed the existential crisis confronted by transgender. In the society, transgenders are considered as the symbol of shame, ridicule, and even crime. On the decades of struggle by the LGBT community, the verdict of the Supreme Court of India, Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, was a big human right achievement by the transgender community. The apex court said transgenders are also the citizens of India and they must be provided equal opportunity to grow. Welcoming the Supreme Court's decision, the transgender right activist Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi said, "Today, for the first time, I feel very proud to be an Indian." In the late 1960s and 70s, there was a sudden spread in the protection of this genre of movies associated with the rights and liberation movements of LGBT and transgender community. Over the years, with the significant awareness and understanding of gender diversity, it is heartening to know that cinema too has modeled its thought process to educate its viewers and to present the realistic images of homosexuality, bisexuality, and transgender through well-etched and credible characterization. It is for the first time a filmmaker from Malayalam film industry has approached this subject seriously and treated the transgender community with dignity and respect. Preetika Yashni of Tamil Nadu Police Force is the first transgender police officer in India. Her life could have been an inspiration for Ranjit Shankar in making of this film, Yan Merikutti. The film begins with the popular actor Jayasurya's character, Madhukutti, leaving home to begin his journey towards becoming a woman. The film values more than that of identity crisis. The protagonist, Merikutti, was essentially Madhukutti, was named by her parents. But he is uncomfortable with the present state of body and mind. He proclaims that he cannot exist anymore as a boy. This mindset of the protagonist that paves the way for us to analyze the film on the perspective of humanistic psychology. This psychological approach emphasizes the individual's inherent drive towards self-actualization, realizing and expressing one's own capabilities and creativity. Primarily, this type of therapy encourages self-awareness. In this film, Madhukutti's self-awareness and belief that he is a woman trapped in a man's body. So, he has undergone a sex reassignment surgery from a private hospital. Even though she is now physically a female, legally she is still a male. She approaches a government medical officer who has to validate that she is a female in order to eligible as a female candidate to attend her Public Service Commission examination. She pleads the medical officer to help her out, but he refuses to do so and claiming that he follows the law stringently. Even though he could not have helped her on the grounds of basic humanity, but he chooses otherwise. This demeaning attitude of the medical officer is quintessential approach of many such government officials who disregard and overlook upon the marginalized ones. So, Public Service Commission has rejected her application to appear for the police selection test. Her struggles in appearing for the exam or the key aspect of this movie. When Merikutti is mentally upset, the pastor comes up with a regenerating plan for her, and he asked Merikutti to host the radio show with the pseudonym RJ Angel. He wanted the people of the locality to respect her voice first and gradually the person herself. This radio show shows that she hosts a milestone that changes the society's attitude towards her. Merikutti was innocent. She felt helpless in her torpor. She is seen approaching the collector to help her out with her PSC exam, which has been cancelled due to some anomaly in her gender analysis. But the attempt turns out to be futile as she doesn't get an appointment with the collector. Merikutti stays optimistic and believes that the society and people are all good, just that they will take some time to accept something new. This ideology is the basis of humanism. Again, Merikutti tactfully plans to meet the collector to present her problem and the PSC application. Fortunately, she gets an appointment as RJ Angel, not as Merikutti. In the interview, the collector asks, "What's the problem you are facing, RJ Angel?" Merikutti corrects him and reveals her identity. "I am Merikutti and my problem is myself. I'm a transgender. The society, especially the higher officials, consider that the transgenders are only for prostitution and beggary." She continues that the very body, which is a tool to carry off one's personality, when people made a criteria to judge the person, that turns into a big problem. The collector and other higher officials getting convinced that Merikutti's case was genuine, so they arranged a retest for Merikutti alone. This was her first winning, which Merikutti grappled through her struggle. With her inner actualization and inner resources had the strength to fetch this victory leads to success. The collector informs Merikutti about a concession that, as being a transgender, she would have to score only 35 marks, where the normal cutoff mark is 40 to qualify in the SI selection test. Merikutti turns down the collector's offer and says that she doesn't need any privileges of being a transgender. She considers herself no less than any other human being. Merikutti, who is tensionally preparing for her exam, while the police officer downseizing her and says, taking women and police force is itself a shame, then how such creatures be tolerated? This depicts the notion held by the patriarchal society where a woman is considered inferior to the male and the third gender even lower. The perspective of the human community to keep on downseizing the transgenders and paves a way for an unending disaster in their life. A special birthday treat is given to RJ Angel by a group of kids where she resided with. The collector comes up with another birthday present for the luckiest person to celebrate her first birthday at the age of 27. Then he hands her 12-digit unique identity number, which defines a person's identity, which is the Aadhaar card. It is after 27 years that Merikutti's struggle came to a halt. Not only Merikutti, but also many others who belong to the third gender go through the same identity crisis, but only those who have the willpower to establish themselves and explore their inner selves would succeed like Merikutti. It is her unconditional positive regard which helped her to stay willful with a warm heart. Then the collector congratulates her as she scored 57 marks in the PSC written exam. Finally, Merikutti passes the physical test with the flying colors. The next stage was her interview. She was questioned what made her to take this revolutionary step. She replies that at first we need to have the courage to convince ourselves who we are, then to others, and finally to the world. And it was the ardent quest for self-realization that leads to take such revolutionary approach. After Merikutti joins as sub-inspector in the police station, the police officials threaten her to be careful as it was the men's world.
Asha ji, sorry to interrupt you.
Okay,
but can you just sum up and give us your own, your main findings?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
That will save time.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. So anyway, Merikutti comments, it's not a man's world, neither woman's, but a world of talents. Anyway, the film ends on a happy note, which the collector giving a new name to the third genders, which is Shiro. And everyone in the audience who has seen the film is guaranteed to look at trans person in a new light, and that is the victory of this path-breaking film. And this film will definitely convey a lot to many unaware viewers, and perhaps even help to remove the myths and prejudices about the transgender people to an extent. Thank you. Thank you.
Of the presentations, there were 4 presentations for this session. The first one was by Ilamaran M, who spoke on Thiruvalluvar Thirukkural, which was, he said, a poem for immortal life. And then the second presentation was by Padmavati PA, and she spoke on the gender bias as represented in the works of P. Shivagami. She spoke about how raising one's voice and gaining visibility was our important tools for women to gain recognition. The third paper was by Uttam Barua. Uttam spoke about the gender dilemma as through his reading of Plato's Symposium, and particularly with reference to hermaphrodites. And Asha Ji, the last paper presenter, she speaks about she's just spoken about the existential crisis among the transgender community, with reference to Merikutti and the evolution of the Shiros in cinema. Now, if there are questions, we can take up questions. Are there any questions? I'd seen a question from Shrestha Bharadwaj. Would you like to put your question for? Yes,
Hello, ma'am. I can address her question.
Ma'am,
Shubhra,
she has a question for Uttam.
yes, Shubhra. Can you direct that question?
Do you think that there can exist a notion called heavenly love in today's materialistic consciousness?
Yeah, ma'am, this is a very beautiful question, and it means a lot because in this materialistic environment, our passions, our emotions are changing. But there is something primitive inside us which cannot change like the 2000 rupee note. So that is the thing. Like that is why when we see somebody, be it our own sex or be it the other sex, we don't know that. But the thing is that after looking at somebody, we feel drawn towards. We do not look at that person's body or face. We like we just saw that person and we felt drawn towards. That is the heavenly love. That is the true love that we cherish in our heart.
Any more questions from anyone for any of the speakers of this session? No?
I don't
Shubhra?
find any questions, ma'am. So you
Okay,
can
okay. So thank you. Yeah. So we wind up with this session. Congratulations to the paper presenters and congratulations to the organizers as well. Shubhra, over to you for the valedictory. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Rosie Chamlin, for joining us and giving your insight and as a chairperson and making this session such a wonderful one. Congratulations to all the paper presenters and everybody out here for being with us. And finally, we have concluded our 3-day international conference on gender studies. And over to you, Shafinur, for the further proceedings.
Thank you, Shubhra. And this is actually our vote of thanks session to all the participants, all the key speakers, all the organizers, and also the convener, without whom actually it wouldn't be possible for us to organize this conference. So I would like to call Dr. Mahmoud Rahmi to give his vote of thanks. Mahmoud Rahmi from Jalalabad, Afghanistan. He did his MA in English Literature from Gujarat University. Currently, he is teaching undergraduates in English Literature in the Faculty of Social Science, Khorasan University. He is a Rotary Peace Fellow at the Rotary Peace Center in Chulalongkorn University, Bangkok, a former SHF Fellow in Peshawar University. So I would like to call Mr. Rahimi. Please unmute yourself and start your speech. Dr. Rahimi, are you there? Yeah. Can you please?
Hello.
Please unmute yourself. Dr. Rahmi, we cannot hear you. Please unmute yourself.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much. Honorable Dr. Oris Regine Selvest, respected Dr. Movie Roshan K, distinguished collaborators, coordinators, and co-coordinators, advisory members, chairpersons, scholars, our most valued guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks in this occasion. I, on behalf of Cameron Trust India, in the entire collaborators, coordinators, co-coordinators, advisory members, and chairperson, I would like to extend a very wholehearted vote of thanks to all speakers for gracing our important work and sharing with us your findings and opinions for the last 3 days. Well, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, an event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheel starts rolling weeks ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of dedicated and dedicated colleagues of coordinators and collaborators who know their job and are result oriented. We have received around 111 abstracts. You can find all the abstracts proceedings books, which is published by Cameron Publication, India. It is also important to say that we had 20 interesting and insightful technical sessions. Similarly, we had resource persons from USA, Nigeria, India, Bangladesh, and Egypt. In the same way, we had novelists, scholars, faculties whose participation has been very productive and fruitful. First and foremost, allow me to extend my sincere thanks to Dr. R.S. Selvest and our convener, Dr. Roshan Morvi K, for putting all their tireless efforts to make these 3 days virtual conference possible. It worth it to express our great gratitude to our incredible coordinators, Dr. Siham Osama, Vice Dean from Egypt, Dr. Mustafa Majid Abbas from Iraq, Dr. Mehrun Nisa Patan from India, Dr. Qais Nasif Hamdani from Iraq, Muhammad Bakibullah, Head of the Department from Bangladesh, Zabiullah Arab, Head of the Department from Afghanistan, Shafiun Noor Nahar from Bangladesh. It is quite pertinent to express our heartfelt gratitude to our all collaborators for their amazing collaboration and immense cooperation. It's a privilege with thanks to thank Al Marif University College from Iraq, Jatia Kabhi Qazi Nazrul Islam University, Department of Fulkor from Bangladesh, University of Creative Technology, Chittagong, Bangladesh, Department of English Language and Literature, Khorasan University Faculty of Social Science, Department of English Language and Literature from Afghanistan, Great Imam Department of Religion Basics from Iraq. It should be noted that I have to thank our amazing moderators, each Dr. Shubra, Dr. Abhimanya, Pinaki Bakshi from India, and Shafiunun Nahar from Bangladesh. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the scholars and presenters for their immense insight and in-depth research papers. Once again, I want to state that we are all most grateful to all the speakers from day one all the way up to now. I had the honor that my head of the department, Dr. Vidya Rao, ma'am, has also presented her paper. Thank you so much, ma'am. All the best wishes ahead in life. All the paper presented has enlightened us. We had a young scholar, Atif Sheikh, only 19 years old. That's amazing. Well participated and contributed for this gender conference. All the young scholars like him are inspiration for us. Wish you a good day and a good night, depending where you live. Take care of yourself and your loved one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rahimi. Now I would like to call Dr. Sham Osama from Egypt, the Vice Dean, to give his vote of thanks. Sorry, it's too hard. No, it happens to me. Sometimes I can't
Hello,
understand.
everyone. It's
Sorry.
okay.
Sorry.
It's Siham.
Shiham. Okay, sorry.
Yes, yes, dear. Hello, everyone. It's been a great honor to have spent these 3 days with you. And I'm really honored that I'm called to do this vote of thanks at the concluding session of the conference. First of all, I have to thank Kay Pomeran Trust for organizing and initiating such a fruitful idea. And I will not go through the usual thanks. I will thank you all in general. And then I would like to point to positive things that I've seen throughout these 3 days. The first positive thing that I'm very happy about is that out of what we are all suffering through COVID-19 and the lockdown and the quarantines and all the things that COVID-19 caused us and our countries all over the world, I believe that good things happen in bad times. And such gatherings, such conferences and such meetings where people get together and share enlightenment and share great ideas and share insight is such a positive thing in hard times. That what keeps us as people of intellect, it keeps us going and it keeps telling us that good things are coming and good days are coming. So that's the first positive thing. The second positive thing is actually it carries a lot of meanings to me as a scholar. First of all, I have witnessed great scholars from all over the world analyzing, giving reflections and ideas about great theories, and that's the usual thing that scholars do. But when I see young, promising researchers do such great work, this is very positive. I believe that this is the fruit that we all look forward to see on the tree of knowledge. Young researchers who have done greatly and have presented great ideas and have given insights, they are going to be one day great scholars, and I would like to congratulate them, the young ones that have done their presentations and given their ideas on the platform of a conference. I have to thank you all again. Thank you, Dr. Roshan. You've been an inspiration, all as usual. And I've met such great people over here that I would like to collaborate with during the coming years, inshallah. And see you all, and best of luck for all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Siham Osama. Now, I would like to call Head Arab Zahibullah from Afghanistan to give his vote of thanks.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
In my turn, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for the wonderful time we have all spent here together since the last 3 days, which has been so enriching and enjoyable. Indeed, it has been a wonderful experience to know all and be a part of this scholastic conference. It is our duty to express our gratitude and say thanks to all those who have made this possible. I would like to extend my thanks to the collaborators, coordinators, co-coordinators, chairmen, session speakers, scholars, presenters, and invitees and finalists. Last but not least, with a deep sense of appreciation, we recall the efforts of our dearest Dr. Moviee Roshan K. and President Dr. Regin Selvest. Your days of hard work did bear much fruit today. We thank you wholeheartedly for paving the ground to this academic opportunity. In conclusion, say thanks for the opportunity given to me to deliver this word of thanks and congratulate for all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arab Zahibullah. Now, I would like to call Mohammad Baki Billah, head of the department from Bangladesh.
Thank you. The three-day virtual conference on gender studies in its final stages. On behalf of my Department of Folklore, National Poet Jatiyo Kavi Kazi Nazrul Islam University, I would like to thank the Cape Comorin Trust for organization such as an amazing conference. I would like to thank the collaborating partners. Thanks also to the presenters, chairs, moderators, and participants. We are proud to be associated with such an excellent conference. We expect that these research relationships will continue in future. I especially thanks to convener, my dear friend, Dr. Roshan Morvike, for inviting me and my university. Thank you to you all.
Thank you, Mohammad Baki Billah. Now, I would like to call Dr. Mustafa Majid Abbas from Iraq.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much for everyone about this Islamvilis conference. Actually, we have got benefit from all the researchers on the presentation. Actually, as we know, the younger researchers, we're looking for like this marvelous conference. Actually, I'm surprised, I'm astonishing, like this chairperson who are leading this is marvelous conference. First of all, I would like to introduce myself because I interrupted so many times without camera. I'm Dr. Mustafa Majid, instructor, Department of Religion Basics, Great Imam College from Iraq. I would like to congratulate everyone for the success of this one conference held in India, entitled the 3-day International Virtual Conference in Gender Study, 16 to 18 September 2020. And many thanks go to the conference president, Dr. Sylvest, and the convener, Dr. Morif Roshan, and the coordinators and the coordinating universities, institutions from Bangladesh, Iraq, India, Afghanistan. And I also thank to the assistant coordinators of the morning, evening sessions, researchers, and debaters. So I would like to thank more and more Dr. Moroshan because they give us this opportunity. And also I thank Dr. Shobra because when I open my laptop and enter the conference, I see in front of me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I would like big thanks to India. This is a big country. Give opportunities all the scholars and the researchers. Maybe you will find or we'll meet again a new conference. First of all, we said thanks to Dr. Siham. This is a big or a great professor. And she said very big sentences. In spite of the pandemic, coronavirus, and we have go beyond about the limitation, and we make this as a successful conference, and we meet each other and exchange the gaining or the acknowledgement about the literature, about the woman. And I thanks everyone about this is holding or members of the conference. Actually, I'm so happy because I met with my Dr. Bathan. She was teaching me in Masa May in 2012. And when her voice, actually, I don't know what happened to me because she considered me like my mom. She also is my mom. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mustafa Majid Abbas. Now, I would like to call another coordinator, Dr. Qais Nasif Hamdani from Iraq. Is he around? Dr. Qais Nasif Hamdani.
I think he is not here.
Okay. Okay. So now it's my turn. So I'm really privileged to get this opportunity to co-organize this e-conference with you. And okay, I would like to start my formal vote of thanks. Good evening, all. And I'd like to start with one quotation. It's from Seneca. Seneca is a Greek tragedian. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. So as all good things come to an end, so is the conference. And but I hope that this is not an end. This is actually another beginning. On behalf of the Department of ELL at University of Creative Technology, Chittagong, I take this opportunity to propose a vote of thanks to those who have directly and indirectly contributed to this virtual conference on gender studies. Our special thanks to the organizers, co-organizers, Dr. Sylvest and Dr. Roshan, to arrange such a wonderful e-conference. Our heartfelt thanks to all key guest speakers, chairpersons, moderators, presenters, and participants for their enthusiastic support to run the program from the beginning to end very successfully. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence. All programs, all sessions, we cannot say that we have not made any mistakes, but I hope that you will forgive us if we make any mistake or if we have done anything wrong. With these warm words and a kind message, we move to the end of today's virtual conference. Thank you. I'd like to hand over the session to Dr. Shubhra Jamal again. Thank you all.
Thank you, Shafinur. And I must thank you in particularly for being such a nice moderator and helping us out. And eventually it was a great success. Thank you all, everyone, from the deep core of my heart. And with this, we come to an end of the 3-day long international conference. Now, I request we will have feedback form in our chat box. Everybody, please fill in your feedback form and please come back, because then we are going to give a link in which you will automatically certificates will be generated. So you can just take your certificates also. In the meantime, I'm going to share a few things. You can have a look at them. We at the Cape Comorin Trust, we have started with the Cape Comorin Club, and this is the membership. It's a club of literary people together, and this is the membership form. We have come up with 3 types of memberships, and here we have diamond membership. Diamond membership is there, in which all of us can take privilege. I'll just log in this. This is a diamond membership. Duration is 10 years and 10,000 Indian rupees, and foreign 300 USD. But what are the benefits of these are, you get 20 times fee waived off for conference, FTPs and workshops. You can participate them. and you will get a unique membership ID. You will get a chance to organize with us. You'll be in the organizing committees of various conferences, workshops, and FTPs, and conference collaborators. You can collaborate with us, and coordinators and co-coordinators in the club. You'll get a chance. Cape Comorin Trust is also having their own editorial boards, and you can get your books also published. You can be editor on the editorial books board also. Then comes platinum membership, that is for 5 years, and Indian rupee 5,000, and foreign 150 USD. What are the benefits? Are 10 times fee waived off for conference, FTPs, and workshops. Membership unique ID cards you will get. Organizing, you'll be able to join us for an organizing committee or the conferences and FTPs, and conference collaborators, and of course for as an editor for journals and book editors too we can have. Then we have gold membership, which is only for 1 year, and that is for 1,000 INR and foreign 50 USD, in which we have benefits of 2-time waived off for research, for conference FTPs and workshops, and you have membership unique IDs. You can contact us on this on our this is the number, and I think Dr. Regin will provide us the link also. So you can contact Dr. Regin, or you can contact us by mailing us on capecomorinclub@gmail. And these are the common benefits which are there. Free e-content will be given to you. All upcoming books or events will be informed to you through mails. You can publish your work with 50% discount, and research publication guidance will be provided to you. So you can mail us on Cape Comorin Club, or you can check our website capecomorintrust.org, which is there. So it's a wonderful team we are working with, and we are coming up with more events like this. I would like to show you one more brochure. We are coming up with this an international faculty development program on virtual library and e-content, and as it's written, mark your dates. We are going to again launch it from 1st to 7th October 2020, and it will be the evening timing 6 to 8:30 p.m. and it's a joint venture by the Department of English, Kaliskaman Academy Research of Education, Tamil Nadu, Altai, Shimla, Cape Comorin Trust, and Lavender Literary Group. So it's really going to be fun being in this FTP, and these are the various topics which are included in this FTP, upcoming FTP. Cape Comorin Trust generally comes up with lots of initiatives like this, and I hope we will be really. It's being fun actually. We are more like a family, and we always come up with lots of ideas and collaborations. And in case you are interested, do join us on Cape Comorin Club and join our family. That's what I can say. So please fill in your feedback forms, and Dr. Regin, if you can also share the FTP link with us. Thank you.
Shubhra ma'am, I want to say something.
Yes, please do.
A very good evening to all. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for the successful completion of the 3 days virtual conference. As we know, no event can take shape without a hardworking leader. So it was the dedication of the president and patron of the Cape Comorin Trust, Dr. R.S. Silvers. I would also like to extend my thanks to the convener of the conference, Dr. Roshan Marve, And I would like to thank all the organizers and contributors for providing such a wonderful platform to paper presenters like me. And it was like a wonderful treat for our craving for knowledge. I must say, it was a wonderful experience. And conducting this conference would have been impossible without the ceaseless efforts of moderators like you, Shubhra ma'am, Shafi Noor, Pinky ma'am, and your enthusiastic gestures and pleasant faces make the entire event run smoothly without any intervention. Your fruitful discussion with the speakers and moderators, with presenters were indeed thought-provoking. There were so many things. I would also like to extend my hearty gratitude to all the speakers for sharing their wonderful and valuable thoughts. Also like to thank all the paper presenters who gave us their valuable ideas, their findings, and there were so many things there were so many issues raised in this seminar. So we were very benefited from this seminar. I've attended many webinars before this 3 days virtual conference, but I must say that this was the wonderful webinar I have attended till yet. So it was really a very, very nice experience to be the part of this conference. Thank you, Cap Comarin Trust and Lavender Literary Club of India and all the contributors and the Cap Comarin publisher. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lalita ma'am. It's really an encouraging gesture. Thank you so much. We will work much harder now. You've raised our expectation. Thank you. So I request everybody to please fill in your feedback forms and wait for the certificates to be generated.
Dr. Shubhra ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please invite Dr. Kesh from Iraq? He wants to express his gratitude.
Yes, we would love to listen to you, sir. Are you there?
Yeah, he's there.
Sir, please unmute yourself.
Sir, please unmute yourself. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Good evening, all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. No.
So first of all, I thank all the collaborators, participants, and presenters of this 3-day international virtual conference on gender studies. And this is our second conference. This program is not going to be a good one, we know that. So actually we thank all the paper presenters, those who have contributed their papers to us for this successful of this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Roshan? Yes, sir. Please.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I would like to thank Dr. Selvit, Dr. Morv Roshan, all collaborators, all coordinators, and all presentators. I followed 3 days of conference. It was excellent and I am sorry because I am sick because I am getting coronavirus. Thank you to all chairmen of sessions. I am very proud that conference succeeded, absolutely succeeded. Thank you for all organizers again, and I wish to meet in conference hall. Thank you for you all. I am sorry because I am very sick. I can't share for delivering speech. I followed all sessions, and I wish you all the best for all of you. Thank you very much for all of you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wishes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else would like to speak something? Till the time we are all connected, we would just love to listen to your comments or maybe suggestions also, whatever you find was wrong or right.
Hello, Shubhra ma'am.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
I am Vidya Singh from Odisha.
Okay.
I'm audible?
Yes, yes, Vidya.
Yeah, I have earlier joined this conference, Grape Chromium, and it was helpful. But that was very much presentable and everything because that was not a virtual one. But this time when I joined virtual conference, it was similarly worth it. If I say in my words, the personal experience was so enriching. I tried to join every day, but due to some of my work, I didn't join. But still, I joined the conference every time. The 3 days were very much helpful, and I got to know many things and many novels also that I haven't heard of or anything. But in my session, you are there. You are very helpful, and thank you very much for that.
Thank you, dear. Thank you so much. Yes, yes, please.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello?
yes, yes, ma'am. Please continue.
Ma'am, this is Padmavati, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Subra ma'am, thank you so much. Actually, this is my first international conference I am attending, ma'am. And sir motivated me, Regin sir motivated me, and thank you so much. You had created an opportunity for us, for a person like us, and it's been much grateful to you all, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Padmavati. Thank you for your lovely comments. Yes, I think Atif, you want to say something?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to play a video. Due to time constraint, I wasn't able to. Can I?
Yes, yes.
Is it visible?
The world needs an anthem for all of womankind. A song to fight, a song to write, the bonds of all of time. So we put pen to paper and wrote all through the night. A gorgeous ode to feminism well within our sights. But this is pretty nuanced stuff, and putting it all in one song was tough. And that's why this is not a feminist song. We tried real hard, but it took too long. This is not a feminist song, because we were scared we would do it wrong. We don't really need an anthem, a song to call their own. So we didn't write that anthem, we went home. Every woman has a struggle, and every struggle's real. But just try and write a song that captures everyone's deal. So instead of writing lyrics, here's us running in the sand. And here's a bunch of lens flares and an old woman's hands. Not to call a woman old or judge a woman's hands. We know I won't, then should it be reduced to just her head? We stepped right into that trap. It's so hard to navigate this graph. And that's why this is not a feminist song. So technically it can't be wrong. This is not a feminist song. I feel like we've been singing so long. Our ancestors, they fought for us, so they deserve a song. But this is not that song, so move along. Now here's how we put it. For a song we did not write. It's my lullaby, yeah, Angelou, and Madeline Albright. And RPG, she taught me that women can be strong. And that women have the right to choose to balance this whole song. Whoa, yeah. And that's why this is not a feminist song. We're just women singing the song. So doesn't that make it a feminist song? I guess this is feminist all along. It is a feminist song. It hashtag feminist song.
Feminist song.
And that's what we point out, move along. Cause now it's time for you at home to wait on this song. Tell us if we handled it all wrong.
So, ma'am, this was the whole transition to my presentation from you doing something but not knowing it to the end that you are doing it and now you are knowing it. So you know about the whole digital feminism thing. So that was the only thing that I wanted to present. But due to time constraint, I couldn't. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Atif. It was lovely. And I think we had missed out rather. That's so wonderful. Thank you so much.
And also, ma'am, I am the son of Dr. Pathan, ma'am. And just so you know, I'm just 19 years old. So everybody in the comment section was talking about like Dr. Atif. So I'm not a doctor yet. And also I'm studying medicine. So I would be a doctor eventually, but a medical one.
So that's a good sign.
Thank you, ma'am.
Lovely.
My
and
pleasure.
we are so proud of you. And I think Dr. Pathan must be very proud of having such a wonderful, talented son. So I congratulate Dr. Pathan also on this. So thank you, Atif.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Anybody else would like to comment or give suggestions?
Yes, Shubhra.
I would like to hear Dr. Abhimanyu, sir.
Yeah.
We were waiting for Abhimanyu actually.
It's been today I had been quite preoccupied with few of the things and little health issues, so couldn't be a very active participant today. But on my phone, I was listening to the presentations, and I must congratulate to Dr. Roshan Noor, because this is not the first time I am associated. I mean, though on a virtual platform, but this is not the first time that we are getting associated. So today, with her leadership skills, she has shown a new aspect of her personality and her organization skills, that she has organized such a wonderful platform for all the intellectuals of the across the globe, and given the people like us to, you know, quench our intellectual thirst. So thank you, Murav, for inviting us all and organizing it. Then there is a very big thanks to Dr. Regin also, who had been patiently and vigilantly sitting over there and keeping his eyes and his ears open and immediately available wherever required for the smooth running of this 3-day international conference. I must say the topic chosen, it is such that even if we have 10 3-day conferences on gender studies, the issues won't be covered, right? Even if we have in 3 days, I think we have more than 100 papers covered. And people with different perspective, different backgrounds from feminist point of view, you know, giving the new perspective to the feminism and LGBT and transgenders and everything. They're coming up with so many wonderful ideas. I must say that certainly the credit goes to the organizers like Dr. Regin and Dr. Murav and the entire team of theirs. And secondly, Shubhra, you have always been very vibrant and joyful. So no doubt the speakers are so awesome. But on top of that, we have a wonderful moderator like you. So it becomes another awesome treat for all of us to listen. And uh, it is, I think, for the first time personally I'm talking face to face with Dr. Murav. I had her paper in the last seminar. So Dr. Murav, I must tell you that please keep doing this and keep doing such work, organizing such events so that we get the platform to learn more and more. So with this, I would like to say congratulations to all of you and thank you so much to Murav and to Regin and to Shubhra, to you and all the other organizers for all this. Thank you so much.
Actually, I was missing you since 2 days. I was thinking how to whom to tell that Dr. Abhimanyu sir is not there to extend the comments or give the observation and comments. So finally,
I was there, Murav. I was there throughout the time yesterday and day before. But today I was not keeping well, so I couldn't attend it so lively today. I was absolutely there. I had three sessions moderated and being a support system of whatever humble help I could offer to you for this wonderful thing. I feel really very privileged to be part of it directly or indirectly. So I hope to see you soon, Murav, sometime.
yes, sir, sure, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhuvan Abhimanyu. That is so sweet of you, and you are always a friend indeed, and always there to help us at any spur of time. And I understand you are too busy these days. You're occupied with few other things, but despite of that, you've taken out time for us. Thank you so much, and you've always been a cheerful person, most wanted on the screen. You know that. So thank you.
Ladies, Dr. Shubhra and Dr. Roshan, I have a question, and that question is about that cheerful smile and sense of serenity that I noticed on all my Indian lady friends. You have a charming smile. What's the secret? Is there something secret of India? You know, I've worked for 4 years with a group of Indian professors, and they all have that charming smile. And I'm sure today that watching all you ladies, I am sure now that there is some secret in India. I would like to know the secret. Please tell me.
Then you have to come. You have to visit India.
Roshan, I've given Roshan the hardest time because I always nag her about things, and we are collaborating in some work. So I always give her, tell me, I want to know that. But she's always serene and smiling. And today, you, Shubhra, and Lilita, and Shafinur, you are all that lovely smile and serenity. Confess, tell me the secret.
Shubhra, ma'am, tell.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's because of your love and encouragement, actually. I feel so motivated to have everybody, with you, and everybody is constantly encouraging you and being with us, and all my friends actually. And I think Dr. Regin especially, he is always encouraging us.
Positive environment, positive vibes.
Yes, ma'am. These are the vibes. These are the positive vibes which you get actually.
Now Shafnur will tell us what is her secret for smiling.
Okay, I actually don't know what is the secret because I thought that I did some blunder even. So I don't know, like sometimes I don't understand from the name that what it is, male or female. So that's really, I'm really sorry to those whom I actually I mean, invite wrongly. So, but the thing is that I think it's Shubhra at first, because at the first day I didn't actually moderate. I was watching her, and from her sessions, actually, I have learned a lot. That
You
how
followed her
to,
steps.
yeah, I have followed her actually. So I can say my secret is actually Shubhra, nothing
Oh
else.
my God.
And also Roshan is there always, who is actually giving me courage, like always saying that you can do it, because I haven't done moderation or moderating session before. So it was she who actually encouraged a lot to do or to take such step, because
You
I
know,
thought,
in Arabic, we have that expression, the anonymous soldier. It expresses those soldiers who do all the work but are not remembered because they are not big names, but they do all the hard work. I think, but now we know the name of the hardworking soldier. It's Roshan, so we are.
yeah.
She's not anonymous, but she is a soldier. See, she's been doing a lot of work, and you are all hard workers. Thank you all for
She is just
and
beautiful soul, I must
yeah,
say.
you are all beautiful, dear. You are all beautiful,
Thank
beautiful
you, thank
souls
you,
and faces.
Thank you.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much, ma'am. All of these recordings, you can have it on the YouTube channel of Cape Comorin. All the recordings of these FTP programs and the conferences, what we do from with the Cape Comorin. And here is a link. Thank you, Dr. Regin. He has sent the link. You can please check in the link, and please do click the bell icon so that you get the latest, all the updates on this YouTube channel, and you can watch yourself. All of these recordings have been done by us.
Wow.
Yeah. Ma'am, may I?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
We were missing you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would say millions of thanks to each and everyone who contributed to the gender studies, being a part of coordinating team, and especially to Roshan Morwe, my own student, growing up from PG and now a PhD, and now being in a faculty position. Love to see you all, and especially Mustafa Majid, Khair, a maximum of my students being the participants. And it's really a very good feedback for a teacher when the teacher sees the students flying high and high. And especially thanks to, Shubhra and Abhimanyu sir and Dr. Sylvest. They are doing a job par excellence, very good, and they should keep it up and keep organizing such kind of activities, so that in future, though we are into COVID-19 and the pandemic, deadliest pandemic, but it keeps you out of it, and we are into touch, I mean to say, into the literary academics, discussing various themes, and this really gives you a platform. And I think this is really a very good team that we have formulated now, as Dr. Regan Sylvester, Roshan Morwes, Shubhra ma'am is there, Abhimanyu sir is there. It's really a very good teamwork, and I think matching the time of each and every country, it was very difficult for Roshan and Dr. Sylvester to go with it. 5 hours difference is there, 4 hours difference is there. She was keeping in contact with at international level, all the speakers who have been invited. And the good part of it was, like, at the end of the session, in the valedictory function, the time period that was being given, and each and every collaborator was being invited. That was really a very good part of it. Like, they also acknowledge the contributions, and also they thanked the organizers. So I think this is really a very good academic literary feast for each and everyone. And this was the first time, I think, Roshan was a convener of the international conference. So she really deserves a word of appreciation. For the first time, she has come onto this platform. Dr. Regine Sylvest has with Cape Cameron Trust, they have been with Lavender Literary Club, they have been doing a very good job. And I think this is really need of the time when you can discuss taking up this social platform or the digital media as a platform to discuss various themes and come out with the various issues and challenges that are being faced by the academics. Though the what we say, the schools, colleges and universities are shut down, but online we are into the discussions and deliberations. So I thank you for giving me this opportunity to coordinate, as well as the invitation that was been extended to me to deliver the keynote address. Thank you so much, and I want to see my students flying more and more high. Thank you one and all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, Dr. Regine has pasted the link of the Google Drive. You can please download your certificates from there. All the certificates are available in the Google Drive. Please search your certificate and you can have your certificates. These are the certificates of the paper presenters and the certificates of the resource person and the plenary, and the chair would be will be sent to their respective mails. These are only the certificates of the paper presenters. Please go to the Google Drive and find your certificate, and you can leave the meeting after having your certificate. I think Dr. Shimpi, you want to say something?
Shubhra ma'am, a very good evening. I'm not Dr. Shimpi. Actually, I'm her husband, and it was a delightful experience listening to all of you. For some reason, I missed this particular conference, but I was very elated, delighted, happy to see my wife presenting. And it was for the first time out of my busy schedule, I could find some time to listen to her. And thanks for giving this opportunity to her. At the same time, I'd love to add a couple of things. As the gentle lady asked about the smile on the faces of Indian ladies, I'd love to add the real reason behind it, because they have a loving husband or a loving brother, and also
This has to be discussed.
Let me quote it properly. And at the same time, they have a very supportive father who encourages them to do whatsoever they want to do in their career. And kuch hawa ki bhi baat hoti hai. There is a lot in the air. So I am very humbled, and I'm very happy that you people organized such a beautiful session. I've not been naming everybody individually because it was all a contributed effort and excellent. By far, one of the best presentations and conference I have witnessed online. Although I have been the organizers of many, and I have been the major spokesperson and the invited guest in many of the conference, but being a participant, an indirect participant, it was commendable, and I loved the session. Thank you everyone. Yeah, gentle lady, Miss or Mrs. Sehem, you were supposed to say something. I contradicted you in between, and I'm extremely sorry for that. Yeah.
It's okay. We are just having a nice chat here. It's
Yeah.
just that you described what we can conclude this conference by saying that you described what a patriarch society would see. Everything that is good in a woman is because of the men around her. Right?
No. Don't take me wrong. Don't take me wrong. I do not promote patriarchy at all. I believe that women need to support men and men need to support women. And that's how our society is being constructed. I'm happy and happening. I'm very successful. I'm doing good in my career because of my wife.
So you are
and
just
my mother.
credit goes to your mother.
My wife and my mother, of course.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Fair. Roshan, this
Yeah.
would be fair.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It's so sweet to listen to your deliberations and discourse. And yes, I totally agree with you. Because without our fathers, without our family members, male support, nothing is possible, and it's vice versa, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a request to everybody. Please check in into the Google Drive given given in the chat box, and please.
Yeah, ma'am, I
find out-
cannot discover Mrs. Shimpi's certificate there. I checked the link, I clicked there, but it wasn't there. Dr. Shimpi
Yeah,
Kumari.
hello, Shubhra. Dr. Shubhra, there had been the same issue last time also when I was concluding the FDP, I guess, or it was FTP, 7 days FTP. So people have the same problem as Shimpi's husband has quoted. I'm sorry, sir, I do not know your name.
Yeah, Amit Chaturvedi is my name.
Amit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Amit, what happens sometimes you have to search with the title like Doctor, Miss or Mrs. whatever the title you have put in over there.
Yeah, it's there. It's very much there. Dr. Selvis is saying it's available there. Please check again, sir.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
Please see through the title, Miss, Mrs. or whatever
Doctor.
title she has
Okay.
used.
Okay.
Shubhra, you can do this announcement also.
Yeah, I'm announcing that.
Yeah, please tell them to see the title, the Miss, Mr., Mrs., Doctor, whatever, or Professor, whatever they have put before their names. Check through that also. As I
Yes,
told you, I
all the certificates are available. Please check
yeah.
with your titles. Google link is there. Google Drive link is there. You can just go into that and find your
Yeah, it is Shimpi certificate starts with Dr. Shimpi Kumari Chaturvedi, I think.
Hello.